Hey YouTube, my name is Nash with Total Tech Solutions and welcome to the first video on the channel. Today's video is going to be about the UniFi Network Controller, and we're going to be taking a in-depth view of everything on the UniFi Network Controller, all of the settings, and the new updated version 6. So just to get a good idea, let's say you're going to be buying a new UniFi product, or you're looking to maybe upgrade your network to something a little bit more, let's say, commercial. This is definitely a good video to get an idea of what UniFi looks like, what is the direction of UniFi they're going to take in the future with their UI layout, and everything like that. So stay tuned, we're going to be getting to that, but just first, since this is my first video on this channel, not my first video on YouTube, I have made hundreds of videos on YouTube in the past, but this is the first video under the Total Tech Solutions brand. We provide tech support, network installs, networking support, audio video installs and support, smart home, and a few other services, custom built PCs. You can come to our website, totaltechwnc.com, and take a view at all of our services. If you're looking for remote support for networking, computer support, or consulting, please give us a call. You can visit us at the Contact Us page, or you can fill out the form here. We do remote services, so if you're looking for something like that and you're impressed with the video, come back and give us a shout. We'd be happy to help you out. But let's get started on the UniFi Network Controller. So what you see here, this is the UniFi dashboard under my account. So we can go up to here and we can see here's my account and here's my email address. And here's my Udm Pro. So if you had a cloud key or a regular UniFi Dream Machine, that would show up here in this menu as well. So we're going to click on this here, and you can see that you have all the options of the different types of software applications that this particular Udm Pro can run. So I have the network controller, the protect controller, access, and then the talk controller. So I don't have either of these running. I don't have any protect cameras. This is just running for some reason, but I do have a UniFi network. The version we're going to be looking at today is version 6.0.43. So this is one of the more stable versions of UniFi Network Controller 6. Alright, so since this is going to be an overview of the entire network controller, we're going to try to buzz through as much of this as fast as possible. I already did take one of this, by the way, and it was about 40 minutes long. So we're going to try to beat 40 minutes, all in one take, without cutting it. But we're going to see how that goes. Anyway, welcome to the UniFi Network dashboard. So as you can see here, it is telling me what my internet service provider is. It's showing me my uptime, my clients, my Wi-Fi experience, and my utilization. So this is an awesome just general overview of how your network is doing. So you have your uptime, you have your download speed, you have the real-time download, and the amount of download speed that you think that they can get. And then you have the upload. So the real-time upload usage, and then what you think the maximum amount. And then you have peak usage down here on both the download and the upload side. So you can see I peaked out at 868 megabytes download speed and peaked on the upload at 28.5. So that just gives you an idea of what your capacity is and how much it can handle. You also have an awesome run speed test tool. So you can see what the speed is to your router. Instead of doing, let's say, going to like speedtest.net, shows you my IP address. I'm going to have to edit that one out. But this is just going to show you what you're getting to the router instead of what you're getting to your device, which is great. Next thing here, you have the clients that are online. So you have the Apple, you have the type of client. You see I have a lot of Apple devices here. You also have the amount of activity, so what particular type is using the most. You have the experience percentage, and then the total amount of devices on that particular type of OS, and then a little graph here. You can also click here and press View Traffic. It'll take you to the Traffic tab, which we're not going to skip ahead and get to that. You can also see wireless, wired, and guest clients as well here. And you also do have intervals too. So you have a month period, you have a 5-day period, and you have a day period. You also do have a calendar view here too if you want to look at specific dates. Next thing down here, you have your Wi-Fi experience. So it's telling me that 99% experience, which is excellent. Anything lower than that, then you have a problem usually. And then it's going to tell you the average here too. And then you also shows the amount of access points I have online. I only have one access point, so because I live in an apartment. And then it's also going to show you your all of your network, your 2.4 gigahertz band, and your 5 gigahertz band as well. So that's it for the brand new dashboard. Let's keep on moving here to the Maps tab. And as you can see here, it is just showing you an overview of all of the devices on the network. But this could be really handy. Let's say you're in a large commercial application and not a small home network like I have here. Let's say a large commercial application and you just can't figure out where the hell that single wire is. This would be an excellent tool to find that wire. Just go here. Okay, so here's the Udm Pro. Chase that down to one of the network switches that are in the rack. I'm thinking it's probably in network rack switch. Let's say it's in rack 3. In switch number 3, you could find it on the map and narrow down what port it is in, and make whatever change you had to. I don't have that big of a setup here. Obviously, I have a couple things connected to a 16-port PoE switch. One of them's my access point. I have my server connected, so that's why you see all of these here. You see all of these have the number 3. That's the port number. So it's all coming through port number 3 because it's all on the server here. I have a desktop computer that is also another desktop computer that is connected, and then my Philips Hue. And then connected right directly to the Udm Pro is my desktop. That's because I wanted to skip the switch. I'm not trying to share my desktop traffic with everything else on the network. Another poor network practice here. A switch and a switch. Don't do this. But the only thing connected to the switch at the time being is the Apple TV. So not too concerned about it right now. But the reason why I am doing this to begin with is because this takes PoE. So port number 1 on the 5-port UniFi Flex Mini is it has PoE in. So my switch is PoE. So I thought, well, instead of having a power cable, why not just power it off the PoE switch? But eventually what will happen is I also have a living room setup that will be set up onto this switch. So eventually that will be swapped out and just plugged directly into the Udm Pro. So it's not having to go through a switch for all that traffic. That's not good networking practice. And then here you have my access point, my one and only access point. And you can see that you have particular network names here. So you can see that these devices are on the IoT network, and then the only other device that isn't is my iPad Air here, which is on my main network. You also have the Wi-Fi experience rating here and the name of the device and what Wi-Fi channel it is on. So this number 8 is on. These are on the 2.4 gigahertz band on channel 8, and then these are on the 5 gigahertz band on 149. And then what is also connected to the access point is a Beacon HD. I had that in my master bedroom to try to get Wi-Fi down outside in the parking lot just because I could. And it kind of works. I get like 2 bars down there. It's not too fast. It was kind of more or less an experiment. So that's that. Right here is also showing you the amount of speed that this is getting to that. So it's 585 megabits download and 866 upload to the access point. Let's go back here. Just one thing. Just don't want to skip over anything. You can also upload your own floor plan here. So let's say you had a floor plan of your home. You could upload this here and then lay out your devices. You have a couple other settings up here as well. Link labels, on or off, show all clients, or just the UniFi devices. And then a reset view button here. Moving on, we have the devices tab. So these are going to be all of the UniFi devices that you adopt into your network. And that is all done through the mobile app. We're not going to be doing that today. We're not going to be taking a look at the mobile app. That may be a good second or third video for kind of like an overview of the whole UniFi network controller. It may be a good idea on how to just show how to adopt a device too, just to show how that works. But we're not going to be doing that in this video. In this video, though, we're going to be taking a look at all of these here. All right, let's get into it. So we're going to start off with my 16-port PoE switch here. If you don't know what PoE is power over Ethernet. So you can see all right here is all my 16 16 RJ45 ports here, and then I have 2 SFP plus ports here. Right here is going to give you the overview. It's going to tell you the MAC address of the device. It's going to tell you the model number, the version, firmware that it's running, the IP address, PoE consumption / budget. So it's drawing 5.46 watts and it has a budget of 42 watts. Temperature sensor, and then the uptime. And you also have memory usage and then the load. Moving on here to the uplink, is telling you what is it connected to, and it's telling you that it's connected to the Udm Pro at 1000 megabits, full duplex, and then it's telling you the activity with the up and down packets. And then the downlink, so what is connected to it that is in the UniFi network. So we have the Laundry Flex Mini, which is a little 5-port switch at 100 megabits, and then you have the UniFi UniFi main access point here, the light 6. Moving forward with the switch here, go ahead and we can click on one of these ports here, and you can actually see that these are all labeled. So you can edit the name of each port, and you can also give it a port profile. So this would be used for doing your VLANs. You also have a MAC filtering and profile override. So you can turn on and off the PoE, what type of operation. You can change the link speed, multicast, or storm control, broadcast storm. Those are fun to deal with. And some other options here as well. So moving back to, that's it for the details tab. You can also see the connected clients to the switch, and it's going to give them the IP address, what network it's on, and then the experience. These are the port settings here. You have the config settings, so the alias for the device. And you can also, this particular UniFi device has a little mini screen on it. You can turn that off, give it a brightness, timeout. Some VLAN options. So what's the management VLAN? You have your network options, so you want to give it a DHCP or a static IP address. You have some managed device options, so custom upgrades, forced provisioning, forget this device, and then downloading device info. And you can also copy configurations if you already had a configuration saved. And then this is just some additional common settings here. And you also have a debug terminal for this particular switch. Not everything does not have that tools tab. And then you also have the CPU and memory usage right here. Let's also take a look at the access point because it is a little different. For example, you also do have the uplink and downlinks here, but you also have the radios. So it gives you all the information about the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz band and what channel and the transmit power and so on and so forth. And you also have your wireless VLAN or your wireless LANs. So I have my guest network, I have the IoT, and then my main network. You have the configs for the radios, so you can change the channel widths here, what channel they're on, the transmit power. You also have the band steering, your management VLAN, your network, and then more device options here. And for the tools, you can actually, with the these access points, I'm not sure about all of them, but for the UniFi Light 6 access point, you can scan your RF environment, which is super cool. And then you also have some other statistics, CPU, memory, and then the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz bands stats here. All right, let's move on to the clients tab. And this is what the clients tabs look like for right now. Version 6 of the UniFi controller is still in beta, so this is all subject to change. This is what it looks like as of this version, which I am not 100% up to date. I think this is the most current stable version as of January 8th, 2021. Big 2021, guys. Anyway, so here you have all of the device names. You have the name, you have the IP address, the experience. You have what it's connected to, so if it's a hardwired device, it tells you what VLAN it's on, and then if it's a Wi-Fi device, it tells you what Wi-Fi network is connected to. It has the amount of current activity download and upload speed, and then the uptime it has been connected to the network. You can also block these devices from being on the network. And if they're actually wireless devices, you can reconnect them too, which is pretty cool. So if they're not reconnecting, they're giving you a pain in the butt, you can just simply just press that reconnect. Again, not trying to skip up here. You have a couple filters here. If you wanted to filter by category or experience, all devices, wired or wireless devices. You also have a tabbed, or this is more like you just have these two different views, a list view and like a tab view. Moving on steadily here, you have the statistics tab, which is going to give you all of your traffic, which is just one of the tabs. They break it down into all of total traffic and then into categories here. You have system stats, so the amount of number of clients with the traffic, and then for the access points. You have overall performance of each device here. I'm sorry, this is of each device. This is just more stats about the Udm Pro. So you have errors, drops, packets, traffic in gigabytes, usage, and then user counts. And you can also do it based off LAN or WAN. And you also have the date filter up here, and then the Dream Machine. You can also do just for the switch as well. Switch stats, so this is going to be of the UniFi Dream Machine Pro. Speed stats, so your speed test results, and then debugging metrics. Moving on, guys, we're going to the Insights tab, which is fairly similar to the Devices tab. It gives you the name of the devices, the MAC address, the fixed IP is telling you if it's a user or guest, the up and down total, first seen date, last seen is telling you what the product is if it can pull it, the manufacturer if it can pull it, device type if it can figure it out, and then the OS if it can figure it out. You can filter for wireless and wired devices. You can do filter for users or guests, and you can do for configured, which would be, I'm not sure the difference between configured and default, but you do have that option as well. You have blocked, noted, or fixed IPs filtering in here as well. And you can block an IP or forget a device in here as well. Alright, that is basically it for the, oh no, we have a little bit more here. So these are all of the neighboring access points, which is actually quite interesting. I did not know about this. This is all the access points in my area. All of the past connections, past guest authorizations, which I haven't had any. The switch statistics for everything. Port forwarding statistics. Dynamic DNS if I had it set up. Remote user VPN if I had it set up. AC EDU streams, and then controller logs. None of it is set up. Moving on, steady and strong. We're looking at 18 minutes so far, guys. We have the Threat Management tab, which is one of the biggest selling factors probably of the UniFi Dream Machine Pro, is that it does have this threat management capabilities. So I can actually block a country altogether from any IP from a particular country from attempting to access my network. So I have China, Russia, India, Pakistan, and I am RAM blocked because I think a lot of spam traffic and a lot of malicious traffic comes out of these 5 countries right here. So I just decided, hey, I don't even access any of those countries. Why do I even need them connected to my network? I'll block them. So you have the total amount of threats. I have had 0 threats. Threats by geolocation, and then threats by classification types. And then this down here to give you the low severity, medium severity, and high severity threats, a chart based on how many that have happened. I have had 0, so nothing is showing up. You would have a traffic log if you had any threats. Here's all the endpoint scans, so it's literally showing you the vulnerabilities on the open ports of each device. And then Honeypot's statistics if you had a Honeypot set up, which I do not. Alright, that is it for threat management. Moving on, steady and strong. You have the events mini tab here. It's going to show you all the events that have happened on the server. I'm sorry, on the UniFi Dream Machine Pro. You can filter up here by admin, LAN, or WAN, and then by errors, warnings, or general. You have the alerts here, so let's say okay, beacon HD got disconnected, so disconnected devices or warning devices. Oh, sorry, going back. And then the next button here, which is the Help Center, it takes you right to another web page. It takes you to help.ui.com, so you can type in your problems based off what system, so on and so forth. Alright, getting into the nitty and gritty here. So this is where you're going to be doing your VLANs, setting up your Wi-Fi networks, changing your firewall rules, everything like that. So this is going to be the Settings tab. Alright, getting started on the Wi-Fi networks. You see that I have 3 Wi-Fi networks going on here. And this is the VLAN that it's under. And in the AP group, and the only AP that is broadcasted is the U6 Lite. And the amount of clients, the authentication, so the password, and then the Wi-Fi experience. And let's just go through the add network here real quick. You can type in the name, password, and then give it a VLAN. You can set it to what Wi-Fi. This is under the advanced tab. Excuse me. You can set a Wi-Fi band, so 2.4 or 5 gigahertz or both. You can select what group of APs you want to you want to broadcast. So if you have like 10 access points, you can select what Wi-Fi networks are on what access point. You have some other more advanced settings here. For example, like fast roaming, multicast enhancement, high performance devices, keeping only 5 gigahertz devices connected. You can set bandwidth profiles. You can hide the Wi-Fi names. Some other security settings, MAC authentications or authorizations. I'm sorry, and then some 802.11 settings. You also have a Wi-Fi schedule down here. You can pause or turn off the Wi-Fi network at certain times. And that is it for creating a Wi-Fi network. You can also add a guest hotspot. So this would have a captive portal if you were to switch this on, and give it a authentication type if you wanted to. And then this is the portal design, so you can change a bunch of different color themes. They give you a couple different views here. Let's turn this on so I can just cycle through here. The tablet, the mobile, all the colors here. You can also add a terms of service that is customizable right in here. Some welcome text, and where is this? Your logo. I also did see that. Where's your logo? Right here. Upload your logo. And then under here, the welcome position text, which is cool. They even give you that option. Some other advanced options, secure portal, some other things here. Just going through for the guest network, and then the Wi-Fi scheduler for the guest network as well, or the hotspot. I also want to show this up here. This is going to be throughout the entire settings, menu. But this can switch you back to the classic mode, so since this is still in beta, there's some things that may be missing that you'd have to switch back here. Next thing we have going on here is the Networks tab. This is where you're going to create your VLANs, so let's go ahead and add a network here. You give it a name. You can also give it VPN settings if you're going to do like a site-to-site network or a remote user network. You also have basic content filtering options here, so none, work, or family, and it gives you a little description here. You also have the advanced tab, so you have a VLAN ID, you can set that too. You can also have a domain name if you'd like. Device isolation, some other options here. Dhcp server on or off, or if you want a relay server instead. Manual or auto. You can also set the default gateway address as well if you'd like. Dhcp Guarding and some other settings here as well. Moving on, because I think that is it on the Networks tab. Whoa. Okay. Whatever that is. Moving on. Next we have the Internet Threat Management under Security. So this is going to be your firewall basically. So I have this enabled. And you do have some restrictions here. So for my Udm Pro, the bandwidth output is only going to be 3.5 gigabits. Oh, wow. When you only have a gig, it doesn't matter. But like for example, the Udm Pro, if you have a gig, I'm sorry, not the Pro, just the regular UniFi Dream Machine, you're bottlenecked to 850 megabits. So if you have a gigabit connection, you're going to be a little bit bottlenecked. It's not major, but maybe noticeable occasionally. You can also select if you want to have a intrusion prevention system or a detection system. So one will obviously just detect, the other one will block threats from trying to access the network. And then you can also set the system sensitivity level. Mine is set to 1 because I think I have it all enabled by myself. I just went and did custom. But if you were to set this to 5, it would turn on everything. So in here is the customized threat management. So I have everything enabled besides for peer-to-peer, Tor, and then video games. But everything else is enabled. I don't need anything like that enabled getting through my network. So that's all enabled. You also have network scans, so you have a threat scanner and then an internal Honeypot scanner if you want it as well. And then the firewall. So here is where you do your rules to do your custom firewall routing, blocking connections from each VLAN, so on and so forth. And then you have your firewall groups, so if you wanted to group a bunch of networks together. And then you also have your contact modules here, some other state timeouts, default action logging, and then the advanced tab here. You have restrict access to Tor if you want, and then restrict access to malicious IP addresses. Obviously you'd want that, and then some other quick settings here. Alright, so back to the security tab here. You also have traffic and device management, so you can enable your deep packet inspection and your device fingerprinting. So you can turn those off if you don't want all that data collected. You also have some restriction definitions and then some restriction assignments. And that is it for that. Let's move on to the internet tab. So this is your WAN connection. It's going to give you the IP address from your modem, and then your service provider, the location, the uptime, and then your peak utilization. Go ahead and click on edit here. So in here you can edit your the name of the WAN if you wanted to. You can give it a DNS server. You can give it a Vlan Id if you want, and then you can set it to a DHCP connection or a static IP if your modem was giving off a static IP. And that is it for here. You see I also do have WAN 2, which is a SFP port, which nothing is plugged into at the moment. Moving on here, system settings. You have country or territory. I'm in the United States. Your preferred language, time format, and then this is where you can enable and disable all of the new and old settings and other menus. So obviously I'm going through and showing you all these new menus, so I have all these enabled for you. Enable them all back again. You also do have dark mode or light mode if you wanted to switch that back and forth. It did not work. Again, we're in beta, so that may happen. And then the maintenance, you have the version, UI, and backend number. You have the build, and then some ubiquity information here. You have the update and restore options, data retention, and then some support information. You have UniFi AI. That will just basically optimize your network and keep on scanning channels and set it to the right channel. I do not have that enabled. I like doing it on my own. And then here are some controller configuration options. I haven't ever really played with these a whole lot. You can set a Google API key. In here you do have to enable your device SSH authentication, and then if you want to set up a mail server for password resets if you needed. Uplink connectivity monitor is also in this menu as well. I think that is it for the system settings. Yes. So last but not least, we're on to the advanced features tab. You have your port profiles here if you wanted to give it a profile. You can do some network isolation. You can also set bandwidth profiles if you wanted to limit bandwidth. You also have your radius as well. You can go into advanced gateway settings. You have some port forwarding, static routes, dynamic DNS, DHCP settings, multicast DNS, SIP, UPnP, and SNMP. And folks, that is it. That is a fairly brief overview. You got about a half hour of detail of the UniFi Network controller. You know, I didn't explain what every single feature is, but I definitely got into majority of all the menus to show you what the new version 6 controller is looking like. For someone who is a new UniFi person, someone maybe looking to buy some hardware, or you know, whatever your case may be, looking to learn a little bit more about what the UI looks like, well, here you go. Here's a perfect video. If you guys found any value in this video, please give it a like and maybe give me a subscribe. We're going to be doing more YouTube videos on the installs that we do on tech support, networking, and smart home things, audio, video. A lot more ideas and videos are going to be coming down the pipeline, so this is one of many. So if you did find any value, again, please subscribe. And if you want to hire us, go to totaltechwnc.com. Anyway, guys, have a good one until the next one. Bye.